Really, Aaron? The one day I come back up to Slippery Rock, the one day that I don't have a Steelers jersey, the one day that I need a jersey to make a video, you finally sign with the Steelers. Really, Aaron? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Steelberg. And as you saw from the intro, the sad day has come. Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler. And oh God, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I do know what to think about it. I don't like it. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a narcissist. I think he will always want the news to be about him, which I think creates a toxic locker room. I think he wants yes men around him, which is why he brought wide receivers to the Jets like Allen Lazard. And I think he is kind of washed up. But on the other hand, he's a veteran presence. But on the other hand, he's a narcissist and is not going to want to teach a young guy. So I don't know what to think. Did I want Mason Rudolph or Will Howard starting the season? No. I mean, Mason Rudolph is good in a pinch, but he's a backup, and that's what it. At the end of the day, that's what he is. And Will Howard, if we throw him to the wolves too quickly, he's just going to get eaten alive. It's going to be a welcome to the NFL kind of moment, and he's going to get absolutely destroyed. Very few NFL quarterbacks excel when they're just thrown to the wolves their rookie year. I mean, you look at guys like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. They sat behind quarterbacks in their first year, in Flacco with the Ravens and Alex Smith with the Chiefs. They sat behind guys in their lineup. So I think it's good for Will Howard to have that veteran presence. And I don't think Mason Rudolph is that veteran presence that would support that. I think the Steelers are caught in between a rock and a hard place here. I mean, I think that there's really not many great options. I mean, it was between Rodgers and Kirk Cousins, basically, and they're both washed. I mean, at least Kirk Cousins is a decent human being. But I don't know. I think out of the two, Rodgers gives us the best chance to win. Do I think it's a great chance to win? No. No. I mean, you saw how he was with the Jets last year. Their receiving core wasn't all that much worse than ours is. I mean, they had Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, I believe, were their top three. And we have Metcalf, Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin. I mean, you can... I don't know. Who's the better starting three in those order, in that situation right there? I mean, you can argue the Jets' offensive line was garbage, but Steelers' line hasn't improved much either. They didn't give Russell Wilson a ton of time last year. Aaron Rodgers certainly isn't a mobile quarterback like Justin Fields who can escape the pocket. So it's really going to be an interesting situation to see if Rodgers really is any kind of improvement. I don't think he's going to have a short leash the same way that maybe Mason Rudolph would have if he started. I think if Mason Rudolph started, there's a chance we see Will Howard fairly quickly. Maybe a Kenny Pickett situation with Trubisky starting in 2022. Maybe we see Mitch Trubisky situation where Trubisky's on a short leash and Pickett's in fairly quickly, the same way Howard's in fairly quickly, the same way Pickett was put in fairly quickly. Now that Rodgers is signed, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Rodgers will take the news of him getting sent down quite poorly. I don't think he's going to want to be anyone's backup, minus a serious injury. I think he's a starter long-term for this season. It is reported that it's a one-year deal, so it is a bridge deal until we can draft a quarterback next year. But with a guy like Rodgers, we're not going to have an especially high draft pick, presumably. Rodgers is the kind of quarterback that's, it's going to get us to 9-8 or 10-7, maybe 11-6. But he's not going to be the quarterback that gets us a 5-12 season and a top 10 pick for a quarterback that's high level. we're probably going to be in the high teens, early 20s range again. So I don't really know what the Steelers are doing here. Like, I know you want to compete, but this is not the year you're going to with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. But it's also not a year to tank for someone in the draft next year, whoever that may be. So I don't know. I don't know what the plan is here. I don't like the move at all. I think it creates a toxic locker room. I think it creates a system where Rodgers is going to be calling the shots more than the coaches are. We know how Tomlin deals with divas. He doesn't. He lets them do their thing until they crash out, and then he ships them off for what he can. He's not a good player management coach. I mean, we've seen that with wide receivers, and now we have a diva quarterback to meld with the diva wide receivers that we have. Like, it's bad. It's just bad. And Arthur Smith is going to have himself a time. I mean, Arthur Smith, we know he loves running the football. We saw it in Tennessee and we saw it in Atlanta. He loves running the football. He loves using the tight end. Rodgers comes from a gunslinger perspective. You saw that in Green Bay. I didn't entirely pay attention to him too much in New York just because the Jets were so horrible when he played. But I know Breece Hall's numbers took a serious dip last year after a really good first couple of years in the league. Rodgers is going to be entering an offense that is presumably going to be run first. And we took a running back very early to complement Jaylen Warren. We have a bolstered O-line. And Arthur Smith traditionally likes to run the football. The question is going to be, how does Aaron Rodgers react to a situation where he's running the football so much? It also makes her offense lose a step. So we saw with Justin Fields last year how we were able to have heavy emphasis on the play action, and sometimes he was able to run. Well, now we don't have that mobile quarterback in the system anymore. And one thing I really didn't like about Arthur Smith last year is that he didn't use Justin Fields as much as I thought he should have in the third down packages, whatever like that. Well, we now no longer have Justin Fields. Now, while Will Howard and Mason Rudolph aren't known for their scrambling ability, we've seen plays where they can be explosive, right? I think of the Christmas game against the Bengals last year, not last year, but 2 years ago, where Mason Rudolph came in and led the Steelers to a playoff berth. Mason Rudolph had a huge run for like 15 yards down to the 1 yard line in a crucial third down moment. We've seen Mason Rudolph make those plays. Will Howard did the same thing at Ohio State. He could make those plays on third down where he scrambled out of the pocket, and he wasn't the fastest runner, but he was tough. He could lower his shoulder and make a play for the first down, and he did it throughout the college football playoffs this year. Those kind of plays are good when you can have your quarterback do that. Not necessarily as a scramble, but especially when you don't expect your quarterback to be a scrambler, or the defense doesn't expect your quarterback to be a scrambler, and then ends up making those plays. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that ability, right? Aaron Rodgers is a pocket quarterback, especially since his Achilles injury. His movement is severely, severely limited. So it's really interesting to see what Arthur Smith can do with that. I mean, the play action, sure, it's effective, but Rodgers doesn't have the ability to get outside the pocket. So it's going to be up to our O-line to provide him time after those play action plays. And even just in the pocket, the O-line is going to have to make sure that they're not forcing him outside like they did with Fields and Wilson. Though Wilson didn't really have the wheels anyway. But that they are creating a pocket for him. And I don't know if our O-line can hold up for that. So for a lot of different reasons, I don't like this Aaron Rodgers move. But the Steelers front office, I just got to trust that they have a plan, right? I am just a fan talking to his phone to anyone who will listen about this game. I know the game the best I can, but I am not in the front office. I am not making these decisions. I'm not giving Omar Khan advice. I'm not giving Tomlin advice. Although sometimes I feel like I could because of their own head decisions. However, I do just have to trust the Steelers on this one. And hope that either we have a really good draft pick this year because Aaron Rodgers isn't the key and we get like 5-12, or that Aaron Rodgers is finally the step that gets us past the first round of the playoffs, which I don't think either are especially likely, but gotta hope, gotta pray, and always gonna bleed black and gold. That is all for this one, folks. I am keeping this to a bit of a shorter video. It's gonna be probably about 10 minutes. I just want to give my reactions while the getting was good. This news was just announced earlier today, so I want to make sure the video is posted today with my reactions. Hence why, for I think maybe only the second video on this channel, I'm not wearing a jersey. This is just whatever I had at the apartment. But that'll be all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Aaron Rodgers signing. Let me know what you think he's going to do for this team. I mean, it's going to change the record prediction for sure. So what do you think our record's going to be? That's all I got for you today, folks. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, night, and goodbye again from the Steelberg.